Okay, so let's talk about Chainsaw Man, chapter 69. Titled Shining Power. But before we jump into this week's chapter, make sure to leave a like down below, comment, subscribe, and check out my Twitch and Twitter accounts, all linked below. But with no further ado, let's jump into this week's chapter. So in this week's chapter of Chainsaw Man, we jump back in where we left off in last week's chapter with Denji on fire trying to kill a devil. Denji, last episode, got smacked into a gas station and his 200 IQ brain was like, well, she's the darkness devil now. And what's the opposite of darkness? But light. So now he's on this whole escapade of trying to cut down Santa Claus or the Master. I think I like the Master better. He's trying to cut down the Master with his chainsaws and his entire body lit aflame. But if you haven't seen this before, that's still not going to be enough to straight up kill her. She grabs him off him and throws him to the ground and gives us a funny line saying, even after having her mind exponentially increased by the power of the darkness, she still can't comprehend the stupidity of a man named Denji, which is hilarious. She's saying, I'm a genius now, but still, I can't read you. You're an idiot. And Denji's just over there saying ha ha before he says any sentence. But he's not an idiot because he watched educational TV every day. It's like, Denji, just go home. But he's almost right because Denji's not an idiot. He learns kind of fast on the fly. He had to learn fast growing up because he was homeless and he was treated like shit. So instead of just like being knocked away, Denji, without the Master knowing it, wraps one of his chainsaw chains around her. So as long as Denji doesn't die and transform back to human, the chain will still be there. It's just amazing that the Master didn't even notice. She's like, what the fuck? As Denji comes in for another attack. And Denji does land it. He wholeheartedly cuts her in the neck and in the chest and somewhere else. But we're not going to talk about that. But again, if you've read any of the previous chapters, the Master isn't fazed by this. She says it herself. I can just distribute the pain to all my dolls. I feel none of this. But what is interesting is that Denji notices that her regeneration is getting slower because she's in contact with direct light. And I'm like, okay, it kind of makes sense, but Fujimoto, you're pulling the line's getting tight. Like, you just made this insanely overpowered character. How on earth is she gonna come down? And we're gonna see as Denji gets knocked back into a wall by the Master and a whole bunch of dolls, puppets, grab him and start stabbing him repeatedly in the chest. And a gruesome scene, we just see the Master look over Denji's body being torn apart, and I'm like, is this the end? But obviously not. And the Master says how this is a fitting end for a dog of Makima. And I gotta say, I did not notice that they definitely did a redraw of the Master in this devil form because she has two sets of tits. That's all I have to say. Moving on, Denji does what Denji does, and he eats. He eats anything and everything that is edible. Quotations around edible. He takes a bite out of one of the puppets and gains enough composure to start ripping them to shreds. He calls this the power of light, but we all see it. Even the Master's like, you're drinking the puppet's blood. Okay, you're resilient. And Denji gets pushed out from the dolls, still on fire, mind you, and the Master does the darkness devil thing. She points at him, which is reminiscent of, what was that, 3 chapters ago, when they were still in hell and the darkness devil fought against Makima and they just pointed at each other. The Master does that to Denji, and a whole bunch of more puppets and dolls jump on him, and she's just like, just die, please just die. But, of course, that's still not the end. We can see that she's still wrapped up in his chains. The fire is still lit. Denji starts pulling her in with his chains. And he's in a big ball of fire, so that's definitely going to weaken her if she gets too close. But, of course, Denji's not going to let go. And the Master doesn't want to let go. So she has some of her dolls start a tug of war with Denji, trying to keep her away from him. And Denji's just having the time of his life as he's going on like trying to kill this woman. But unluckily for Denji, she has one of the dolls come up with a car and run Denji over, like at max speed. If you look at this car was totaled when it hit him. Looks like the car hit a truck and the car explodes. In the Chainsaw Man Discord, people just like, wow, whenever you see a car in Chainsaw Man and any of Fujimoto's work now, you just know it's going to be a bad time for somebody, because previous chapters, this all started with Kobeni's car when power crashed into somebody, and then later on, a few chapters ago, one of the Immortal Brothers jumped out a window and landed on Kobeni's car. So like, cars have a bad rep in the manga right now. But yeah, it looks like it might be all over, as the master just looks over the burning wreckage of the fire, but we still see that Denji's chain is wrapped around her, and Denji's almost completely lost it. He is just elated that he is in so much pain and just burning so bright. And the master just looks at him dumbfounded, like, why won't you die? And Denji's like, everyone getting up on me, it's fine. People trying to kill me, I'm used to it. Like, he should be. But if Makima dies, he won't be able to go on the trip with her. So obviously, he can't let her die. That's his driving motivation for this point. Not revenge, not just noticing this bitch is crazy and like insane, and that the master is overpowered. He's like, nah, I'm going on a date with Makima, so I'm gonna have to kill you. And we get this amazing double page spread of Denji on fire, kicking through the master, like completely just kicking through her stomach, going straight through, causing her to catch fire. And the master's like, what is happening? And Denji does his ultimate move. He picks up a car and thrusts it down upon the master, calling it his power of light. And the car explodes and the master gets engulfed in flames. And that's a chapter. Man, I'm not mad at this. Like, if there was one way to destroy her, I mean, from the beginning, we knew her weakness was lightness, was the light. But it almost doesn't make sense because the sun was setting. It wasn't completely down. There was still sun out. And she was able to stand in the light. So the fact that the fire is actually doing damage to her doesn't make the most of sense, but I'll take it. It was still a fun chapter. Amazing artwork. Like, still like the Chainsaw Man I know and love, and hopefully you do as well. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you liked it. Leave a like if you did. Leave a dislike if you did not. Comment something down below. Comment how much you hate or love Chainsaw Man. And yeah, peace.